The Galactic Council chamber was larger than most cities. Tall pillars of silver light rose toward a ceiling that looked like moving stars. Leaders from 100 worlds sat in a wide circle. Some had scales. Some had metal skin. Some floated above their seats. All of them were silent. In the center stood the elders. They were older than most civilizations in the room. Their bodies were thin and fragile, but their eyes were sharp. They had seen wars that others only read about in history records. One elder stepped forward. His voice was calm, but it carried through the entire chamber. "Do not go near Earth." A low wave of whispers spread across the hall. Earth. The small blue planet at the edge of a quiet system. A young war commander named Verex leaned back in his chair. His armor shined like black glass. Scars covered his face, each one a memory of victory. "Is this a joke?" he said loudly. "We are here to discuss expansion. Not fairy tales." Some leaders laughed. The elder did not react. With a simple motion of his hand, a hologram appeared above the floor. It showed broken ships drifting in space. Entire fleets reduced to debris. "These were the Kralin," the elder said. "They believed humans were weak." The image shifted. Another destroyed armada. These were the Threx Dominion. They thought Earth was divided and easy to conquer. The room grew quieter. Verex stood up slowly. "Humans fight each other," he said. "Their planet is full of conflict. Their governments argue. Their people protest. They are not united." Another elder spoke. "You see chaos. We see preparation." More images appeared. Human ships moving in perfect formation. Weapons that adapted during battle. Enemy fleets falling into traps they did not see. "They learn fast," the elder continued. "They change tactics in minutes. They turn loss into advantage." Verex crossed his arms. "Old stories. Old battles. The galaxy has evolved. We are stronger now." The elder looked directly at him. So were the others. Silence fell again. The council leader finally spoke. "Commander Verex, your fleet is the strongest in this sector. Do you believe you can defeat Earth without difficulty?" Verex did not hesitate. "Yes. And if the elders are right?" He smiled slightly. "Then I will prove them wrong." Soft laughter filled parts of the chamber. The elders closed their eyes for a moment, as if remembering something painful. One final hologram appeared. It showed Earth from space. Blue oceans. White clouds. Green land. "It looks peaceful," the elder said. And it is. But peace is their choice. Not their weakness. Verex walked toward the center and stared at the image of Earth. "They are soft," he said quietly. "Soft species do not survive real war." The elder's voice became colder. "They survived extinction events. Global disasters. World wars. They survived themselves." That line made a few leaders shift uncomfortably. But pride was stronger than fear. The council leader raised his hand. "The decision is made. Commander Verex will take the 7th Armada and claim Earth's outer colonies." A deep sound echoed across the chamber. The vote was final. The elders did not argue again. As Verex turned to leave, one elder spoke one last time. "When they stand alone, they fight hard. When they stand together, they become unstoppable." Verex paused for half a second, then continued walking. Outside the chamber, his generals were waiting. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered. "We move at dawn cycle." Across the stars, thousands of warships powered up. Engines glowed bright blue. Soldiers cheered. They expected glory. They expected victory. Far away, on a small blue planet called Earth, no one in the streets knew what had just been decided. But deep under a mountain, inside a hidden command center, a silent alarm turned from green to red. A human officer looked at the screen. His face did not show fear. He simply said, "They ignored the warning." Around him, others moved calmly. High above the planet, hidden satellites slowly changed position. And in the darkness beyond the moon, something ancient powered on. The war had not started yet. But it was already waiting. The Seventh Armada moved like a dark ocean across space. Thousands of warships formed perfect lines. Massive carriers stood at the center. Destroyers surrounded them like sharp teeth. Their engines burned bright, leaving blue trails in the void. Commander Varric stood on the bridge of his flagship, Oblivion Spear. He watched the solar system grow larger on the main screen. "There," one officer said. "Target system confirmed. Earth located." The planet appeared small but bright. Blue oceans reflected its star. White clouds moved slowly across the surface. It looked calm. Fragile. Varric felt nothing but confidence. "Scan for defense fleets," he ordered. Minutes passed. No large military presence detected, an officer reported. Only civilian satellites and small patrol craft. Soft laughter filled the bridge. "They are not ready," one general said. Varric crossed his arms. "Of course they are not. They think we will not dare." The Armada crossed the outer edge of the solar system. They passed frozen rocks and distant planets without resistance. No mines. No ambush. No warning shots. It felt wrong. But pride made it feel like victory. On Earth, inside a hidden command center built deep under stone and steel, humans were watching every movement. Large screens showed the enemy fleet in perfect detail. Every ship. Every formation change. Every power spike. Admiral Reyes stood quietly at the center of the room. "They came faster than predicted," one analyst said. Reyes nodded. "Not faster. Just impatient." Another officer asked, "Do we launch the main fleet now?" Reyes shook his head. "No. Let them feel safe." Above the planet, civilian life continued. People worked. Children played. News channels said nothing. But under oceans and mountains, doors opened. Warships powered on silently. Missile systems unlocked. Deep space sensors focused tightly on the enemy. Back on the Oblivion Spear, an officer frowned at his console. "Commander, small signal bursts detected from multiple satellites." "Civilian communication?" Varric asked. "Unknown. They are encrypted. Ignore them." The Armada moved closer to Mars. Still nothing. No attack. No visible defense fleet. Varric began to feel amused. "They hide behind rocks," he said. "Send a message to Earth." A signal was transmitted. "This is Commander Varric of the 7th Armada. Surrender immediately. Your colonies and military assets will be claimed. Resistance will result in planetary consequences." Silence answered. Seconds passed. Then minutes. No reply. On Earth, Admiral Reyes looked at the incoming message. "Do we respond?" an officer asked. Reyes thought for a moment. "No." The officer looked surprised. "No message at all?" Reyes shook his head slowly. "Let them talk to empty space." In the enemy fleet, confusion started to grow. "Commander, no response from Earth." Varric frowned slightly. "Are they blocking transmission?" "No, Commander. They received it." He stared at the screen showing the blue planet. "They are afraid." But deep inside, something felt different. Suddenly, warning lights flashed on the bridge. Commander. Multiple energy signatures detected. From where? Verex demanded. Everywhere. On the main screen, small civilian satellites began to change shape. Panels opened. Weapons systems emerged. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. Energy grids formed between them, creating a massive invisible shield around Earth. Verex's eyes widened slightly. That is not possible, one general whispered. Before anyone could speak again, space around the moon shifted. At first it looked like shadows moving. Then darkness peeled away. Huge warships uncloaked. Not 10. Not 50. Hundreds. Human battlecruisers, silent and steady, pointing directly at the 7th Armada. On Earth, Admiral Reyes gave a single command. Begin Phase 1. Back in the enemy fleet, alarms screamed. All ships report system interference. Navigation glitching. Targeting systems unstable. Verex gripped the edge of his command table. This was a trap, he said quietly. The calm blue planet no longer looked fragile. It looked patient. And the storm was about to begin. The first explosion was not loud. In space, sound did not travel. But on every screen inside the 7th Armada, light flashed bright white. One of Verex's outer destroyers suddenly went dark. Its engines failed. Its shields collapsed. A second later, it broke apart into silent pieces. Report. Verex shouted. Unknown strike pattern, an officer yelled back. No visible projectile. Another ship lost power. Then another. Human warships did not rush forward wildly. They moved slowly, carefully, like hunters closing in on trapped prey. Admiral Reyes stood calm in the underground command center. Target their command relays, he ordered. Blind them. High above, small human frigates released thin waves of energy. The waves passed through enemy shields like mist. They attacked systems, not armor. Inside the alien ships, confusion spread fast. We cannot lock targets. Our sensors are feeding false images. Navigation error. Verex slammed his fist against the command table. Switch to manual control. Fire all forward batteries. Massive beams of energy shot toward the nearest human cruisers. But the human ships moved before impact. Their engines flared sharply. The beams hit empty space. They predicted the firing pattern, one general whispered. Human ships responded with precise counterstrikes. Not random. Not emotional. Each attack disabled something important. Weapons first. Engines next. Communication arrays last. It was controlled destruction. Verex realized something terrifying. They are not trying to destroy us quickly, he said slowly. They are taking us apart. A sudden shockwave hit the Oblivion Spear. The bridge lights flickered. Direct hit on our left shield, an officer shouted. Return fire. Verex commanded. Outside, alien warships began to break formation. Fear made them rush forward without coordination. That was the mistake. From behind Earth's moon, a second human fleet appeared. Smaller ships, fast and sharp. They moved between enemy vessels, targeting weak points. Explosions filled the darkness. On Earth, citizens finally saw flashes in the night sky. News stations could no longer hide the truth. But there was no panic in the streets. Emergency systems activated calmly. Shelters opened. Defense sirens sounded with steady rhythm. People watched the sky not with fear, but with anger. Back in space, Verex ordered full assault formation. Push through their line, he roared. Overwhelm them. His largest battleships charged forward, weapons glowing bright red. For a moment, it looked powerful. Then human ships did something unexpected. Several smaller vessels placed themselves directly in the path of the alien fire. They absorbed the damage. They were destroyed. But in that short window, the larger human carriers behind them fired heavy cannons. 3 alien battleships exploded at once. Varek stared at the screen. They sacrificed their own ships, one officer said in disbelief. No, Varek replied quietly. They protected something more important. Human formations shifted again. Damaged ships pulled back while fresh units replaced them instantly. It was like fighting a single living mind. On Earth, Admiral Reyes received a status update. Losses, he asked. Acceptable. Reyes nodded once. Maintain pressure. In the enemy fleet, fear turned into desperation. Commander, we are losing outer sectors. Retreat vector blocked. What? Long-range scans showed something new. Asteroid bases that were once quiet suddenly powered on. Hidden defense platforms rose from behind floating rocks. Missile batteries locked onto the Armada's rear. They were surrounded. Varek felt the first cold touch of doubt. The Elder's words echoed in his memory. When threatened, they unite. Another explosion rocked his flagship. Commander, hull breach on lower decks. Through the main screen, Earth looked the same. Calm. Blue. Silent. But now he understood. The calm was never weakness. It was control. Human ships advanced slowly, forcing the 7th Armada backward, deeper into the trap. Varek finally gave the order he never thought he would give. Prepare emergency retreat. But as his officers tried to calculate escape routes, their screens filled with red warnings. Jump drives malfunctioning. Coordinates blocked. Exit paths sealed. The humans had planned for this. The storm was no longer coming. It was already here. And Earth was not fighting to survive. Earth was fighting to win. The order to retreat should have saved them. It did not. Inside the Oblivion Spear, officers rushed from console to console. Red warning lights painted the bridge in harsh color. Jump drives are not responding. Coordinates locked out. Energy flow unstable. Commander Varek felt his control slipping away for the first time in his career. Override the system, he demanded. We are trying, Commander. Another explosion shook the flagship. The floor tilted slightly before stabilizing. Smoke rose from a damaged panel. On the main screen, the battlefield looked completely different now. The 7th Armada was no longer a sharp formation. It was scattered. Human ships moved between broken alien vessels like silent shadows. They did not rush. They did not chase blindly. They closed every exit. Asteroid bases that once looked like simple rocks were now fully active defense platforms. Heavy cannons rotated with calm precision. Missile swarms launched in controlled waves. Varek stared at the tactical display. They prepared the entire system, he said quietly. One officer answered in a shaken voice. Commander, long-range scans show more human fleets approaching. From where? Multiple directions. The screen shifted. Signals appeared from behind Jupiter. From Mars' orbit. From deep space beyond the asteroid belt. Fresh fleets. Untouched. Waiting. This was not a single defense force. This was a planet fighting as one. On Earth, the underground command center remained calm. Admiral Reyes watched the battle unfold without emotion. All nations have confirmed full support, an officer reported. Global Defense Network synchronized. Reyes gave a small nod. On the surface of Earth, leaders who once argued in public were now united in private rooms. Military channels were open across continents. Old rivals stood side by side. Borders no longer mattered. Politics no longer mattered. Only survival mattered. Back in space, Varex's remaining battleships tried to regroup. Form defensive wall, he ordered. Protect the carriers. But human strategy changed again. Instead of direct attack, they split the enemy into smaller clusters. Electronic interference increased. Targeting systems failed one by one. Alien ships began firing at false images. Some even struck their own damaged vessels. Fear spread faster than fire. They are inside our systems, a technician shouted. No, Varex said, watching the screen. They are inside our thinking. He finally understood what the elders meant. Humans adapted during battle. Every mistake was studied. Every reaction predicted. Suddenly, the largest human carrier moved forward. It did not fire. It simply positioned itself directly in front of the Oblivion Spear. A communication request appeared on the screen. Varex hesitated for only a moment. Open channel. The image of a human woman appeared. Admiral Reyes. She looked calm. Focused. Not angry. You were warned, she said simply. Varex said nothing at first. Behind her image, more human ships surrounded his fleet completely. There is still time, Reyes continued. Power down your weapons. Surrender your command codes. No further destruction is required. Some of Varex's officers looked hopeful. Others looked ashamed. He felt pride fighting against reality inside him. If we refuse, he asked. Reyes did not raise her voice. Then this ends today. At that exact moment, 3 of Varex's last heavy cruisers exploded under precise human fire. Not wild. Not cruel. Precise. The message was clear. Varex looked again at Earth on the distant screen. Blue. Calm. Untouched. He realized something painful. They had not even reached the planet. All this destruction happened far from Earth's surface. Humans had stopped them before the real fight even began. Slowly, he lowered his head. Stand down, he ordered quietly. Silence filled the bridge. One by one, alien ships powered down weapons. Energy signatures faded. Across space, human fleets held position but did not fire. The fury of Earth had been shown. Not through chaos. Not through rage. But through unity. The elders had tried to explain. When humans fight alone, they are dangerous. When they fight together, they are unstoppable. The battlefield became silent. Broken ships floated between stars like dark monuments. Fires burned inside drifting hulls. Escape pods moved slowly through the debris. Human warships did not celebrate. They moved carefully among the wreckage. Begin rescue operations, Admiral Reyes ordered. Some officers looked surprised. Rescue, enemy survivors. Reyes nodded. Life is life. In space, human medical ships opened their bays. Tractor beams gently pulled in alien escape pods. Injured soldiers who had come to conquer Earth were now carried into clean white rooms by human medics. Commander Varex stood on the dim bridge of the Oblivion Spear. His weapons were offline. His fleet was defeated. He watched as a human cruiser approached his flagship. They are requesting boarding permission, an officer said quietly. Varex took a slow breath. Granted. Minutes later, human soldiers stepped onto his ship. Their armor was simple but strong. Their weapons were ready but lowered. They did not shout. They did not insult. Their leader stepped forward. You will come with us, the human said calmly. Varex expected chains. He expected humiliation. Instead, he was escorted with respect. Outside, he saw something that stayed in his memory forever. Human ships were repairing damaged alien vessels so they would not explode and kill survivors inside. They fight like storms, one of his officers whispered behind him. And then they heal like guardians. Varek said nothing. Back on Earth, world leaders addressed their people. The truth was revealed. The invasion attempt. The victory. The losses. There were moments of sadness for fallen human ships. But there was no hatred speech. Only one message repeated again and again. We did not seek war. But we will always defend our home. Across the galaxy, long-range transmissions carried news of the battle. The Galactic Council gathered once more. This time, there was no laughter. The elders stood silently as footage of the destroyed Seventh Armada played in the center of the chamber. The council leader lowered his head. They warned us, he said softly. One elder finally spoke. Humans do not fear extinction. They have faced it many times. That is why threats do not break them. Another image appeared. Human ships rescuing alien survivors. Murmurs spread through the chamber. They show mercy, a council member asked in disbelief. Yes, the elder replied. Because strength does not require cruelty. Commander Varex was brought before the council days later. He looked different. Not broken. Changed. Tell us, the council leader demanded. What are humans? Varex remembered the silent fleets. The precise attacks. The unity of a planet. They are patient, he said slowly. They are divided in peace. But united in danger. He looked toward the elders. And when united, they are unstoppable. Silence filled the chamber again. A decision was made that day. Earth would not be invaded again. Instead, a message was prepared. A formal apology. And an offer of peace. On Earth, Admiral Reyes received the transmission. She read it carefully. Then she gave one simple reply. Peace is accepted. Respect our borders, and we will respect yours. The message was clear. Earth did not want to rule the galaxy. It only wanted to live in it. Years later, young alien officers studied the Battle of Sol system in their academies. They learned about the mistake of pride. They learned about the danger of underestimating humans. But most importantly, they learned this lesson. Earth looks calm from far away. Blue. Quiet. Beautiful. But behind that calm surface lives a species that survived its own destruction. A species that turns fear into strength. A species that, when threatened, does not fall quietly. It rises. And the galaxy never laughed at the elders' warning again.